In this tutorial, we're going to learn the next part of our pumpkin patch, which is our gorgeous little mushrooms. So I'm just going to thread on a good arm-pour worth of the oatmeal, or you could use white or any color you like for the base of your mushroom here. And we're just going to go in with a satin stitch. We're going to start at the base of the mushroom, and we're just going to bring our needle up, making sure to leave a tail underneath to tie off to. And we're just going to take our needle across in a simple straight stitch here and pull our yarn through. And we're just going to go back and repeat this method all the way until we reach the top of the stem of the mushroom. Make sure that your needle stays inside the lines of the design so that your stitches look nice and neat. And once we reach the top, we can flip our garment over, and we're just going to thread our needle all the way back through our work so that these two tails, our starting tail and our ending tail, are now together, and we can tie them together in a triple knot. Next, we've threaded on a good armful worth of the red yarn, and we're just going to go in and do a back stitch around the outline of the mushroom first. So if you've been doing this whole project, you'll be an absolute professional at the back stitch now. This whole design is pretty much, well, it's very back stitch heavy, so you should be very good at this now. We are just going to be doing again our 1/2 centimeter spaces. So we've gone 1/2 centimeter here. We're just bringing our needle back into the previous stitch, and we're going to again leave a 1/2 centimeter space. Bring our needle up and then just tuck it back into the end of the previous stitch. And we're just going to go all the way around the outside of the mushroom doing this stitch now. Now we should have enough yarn left on our needle to complete the middle section. So we're just going to bring our needle up from the top, and we're just going to go in with a satin stitch to fill in this whole section. So again, I like to do my satin stitch in 2 halves. So I'm going to start here with the right, and we're just going to move across to the left once we've filled in the right section. So again, we're going to bring our needle to the top and just bring it down into the bottom into a nice straight line stitch. And we're going to fill in all of this part on the right. Now once that's all filled, I'm just going to flip my garment over. We're just going to take our threaded needle, and we're just going to, we're just going to undo a little bit of a snag there. And I'm just going to thread my needle through my work. And this now brings my needle over to the left-hand side, which I can then continue filling in with a satin stitch. And once that last stitch is in, we just need to then take our needle again back through our work so that our starting tail and our ending tail are now together, and we can tie those together in a triple knot and snip away any excess ends. Next, we're going to thread on whatever colour you like for your little dots on your mushroom. This is a very easy up and over stitch. I've just popped on about 1/2 metre of black yarn. I wanted to do black because it just is a bit more of a contrasting colour. And this is just very simple. You just need a little bit of thread to grip onto. So we're just going to go up and just slightly over and just tuck down that stitch to give the little dots on the mushroom. I would suggest no more than 4 or 5 of these, depending on how big you've done your mushroom. If you've got a smaller one, obviously you need to do a lot less, but just it's entirely up to you. You can put in as many as you like. And of course, once we're done here, we're just going to flip our garment over and tie off our 2 ends together in a triple knot. Next, I've threaded on about 1/2 metre of green yarn, and we're just going to pop a couple of lazy daisies in here, which is going to give us our little greenery at the base of the mushroom. You're going to take your needle back into the hole that you just came up from. We're going to take this yarn and wrap it around our needle, and then we're just going to pull that through. And you'll see here it creates one of our little lazy daisies, and this is the stitch we actually use when we create our daisies. And then we're just going to anchor that down by popping a stitch over the top of it. So once we've pulled that down, we're then going to come up through the middle and pop another one into the center. Of course, you can put these wherever you like. This is just how I like to do them. And we're just going to bring one into the center, wrap that yarn around and pull it through. And then don't forget, we just need to anchor that stitch in place. So we just do that by popping a stitch over the top of that lazy daisy. And then we're just going to repeat the same process, this time on the right hand side. And then of course we're just going to tie off as we have been by bringing our 2 ends together and tying them together in a triple knot. And now that's your little mushrooms made, but let's now move on to our sweet little acorns. So for the acorn, I've popped on about 1 metre of brown yarn. Now you don't have to do the basket weave here. You could do a back stitch or a chain stitch. I really love the basket weave. It's one of my absolute favourites, and I do think it gives that acorn that sort of more of an acorn look. So I'm just going to go in here and set up ready for our basket weave, which if you've already done the wheelbarrow on your project, you'll know exactly how to do the stitch from there. But if you don't, we're just going to go in and pop a few starting little straight stitches in place first. Now once we're there, we're just going to take our needle to the top section, and this is an under over under over under over method. So we're going to start by going under or over. It's entirely up to you, it doesn't matter which way you do it, and we're going to go under over under over under over all the way until we come to the end. And once we get to the end, we're just going to pin that down with a little stitch. And using the opposite end of your needle, you can just push that stitch in place, and we're just going to pin it down now with an anchor stitch. And we're just going to bring our needle up to the next row. So that's just underneath where we've just pinned our previous row. And make sure you start the next row with the opposite of where you ended. So if you ended under, you're going to start over. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, you're not going to get that nice little basket effect. So we're just going to carry on here, under, over, and we're just going to pin this down again. And you'll probably get 3 or possibly 4 into your acorn. I guess it depends which size you choose. There are quite a few different sizes on the design that we have offered. So once we've filled that in, we're just going to then flip our garment over, and I'm just going to take my threaded needle and into the center of where we have just been stitching. And I'm going to bring my needle up to the top section and just pin in a little stitch here, a little straight stitch, just to give that top part of the acorn. And then once that's in place, I'm just going to flip my garment over and I'm just going to just weave my needle through my work so that my two ends are together and we can tie them together in a triple knot. Next, I've threaded on about 1 meter of the oatmeal yarn. I'm just going to pop in from the bottom section here. I'm just going to do a satin stitch to fill in this whole section. And of course, as usual, once we're finished, we're just going to track underneath our work and tie off our ends together. And that is all of your designs created. How exciting. I really hope you've enjoyed this stitching project. Let's remove this stick and stitch from our mushrooms and our acorns too. So running under some lukewarm water, if you've got the shower setting on your sink tap like I have here, it does start to fade off pretty easily. It's actually super satisfying removing the stabilizer from denim jackets. It's one of my favorites. But once it's all removed, you can flat lay to dry and you are all done. I really hope you've enjoyed creating this beautiful fall look. Happy stitching, guys.